I have found myself wanting a little bit more out of the cameras that came with the technology package in my 23 Canyon. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So the 360 view is actually really cool and really helpful, honestly. The rear view camera here, front view camera when you're pulling in and out of parking stalls is really nice. But I just feel like I want this a little bit wider, especially when we're backing out of a stall. You really can't see somebody coming, even though you've got the cross-traffic braking and whatnot built into the tech package that we got on this truck. This is literally the view of the rear view mirror. That's all I get. And with my daughter wanting to move her seat from the passenger side in the middle so she can see forward, I'm gonna have her lovely little head blocking my view. I was backing up my trailer the other day and I couldn't see much out of the side mirrors. I had set them to go down to the tires when I backed up, and I immediately turned that feature off. And I really wish that I had a high mount camera to see the trailer and everything I was backing up into, because the camera on the tailgate was literally pointing at my trailer. Say that I want to use the half up tailgate feature to have a piece of wood back here, plywood or whatever. Well, the camera's attached to the tailgate, so now I'm looking at basically the ground. The video is not about my Scion XB, but I put a rear view mirror dash cam dual camera system on my car last year, and I love it. I have this little tiny camera back here, and it's 100% live all the time dash cam that's actually outside of the vehicle. The issue that I have with the system in the Scion is that it's not hardwired or hard mounted. It's literally just strapped to the factory mirror and it's plugged into the cigarette lighter. I have to constantly adjust the mirror to make sure that it's, you know, not reflecting anything. And also I gotta make sure the dang thing's plugged in because it likes to slide out of the cigarette lighter. So I'm gonna fix both of those issues here in the Canyon. I think for a lot of reasons, putting a dash cam in the truck is going to be helpful, just for security and just for insurance reasons, should anything ever happen, but also having that ability to back up a trailer, or if I'm using the truck where that rear camera is not functional or not helpful, I have a high mount camera that will be. Here's everything I bought. I got the non-Wolfbox dash cam mount because that was cheaper by a couple bucks. I got the Wolfbox 2.7K camera with the 4K front facing camera. I got the actual hard mount to the windshield. This is nice sturdy ball mount, and then the bracket that goes on the back of this exact mirror dash cam. Pretty simply, this little panel here needs to come out. There we go. And get the thing unplugged. T20. You just loosen the screw here just a little bit. It'll come right out. Just like that. Quick unboxing here of the Wolfbox camera. Be smarter than the box apparently. There it goes. Almost seems bigger than what I've got on my Scion. I wonder if this is a bigger mirror. Holy crap. This thing is massive. Man, I am stoked. I actually didn't realize that this screen was way bigger than the factory mirror, so that's a plus. The box comes pretty complete. It's got the cigarette lighter, which I told you guys kept pulling out of my Scion. Won't be using that. This one's the GPS module. I don't think I'll be using that either. These are the straps that I mentioned before. These are the ones that kind of clamp over the mirror, and these just won't work for me. Here's the harness for the rear camera and power, and here's the bracket to figure out where we want to mount it. It's got sticky back mount, so we'll see what we come up with. This little universal hardwire kit comes with all these different fuse taps. So essentially we've got a couple different size blade fuses. I believe it's the mini fuse here. We're going to find something down in the kick panel that is fused ignition, and we'll put the fuse back in here and attach the appropriate fuse to that, and that will feed our wire harness up to the mirror. The power kit and the mirror both came with a little panel removal tool. Just be careful, this plastic is very soft. This polypropylene plastic is really soft, so be careful with that. I'm gonna take the screw covers and try to get this A-pillar bezel cover off so I can tuck the wires back in through here so you can't see them. Whoa! Yikes. Okay, I'm glad I pulled this off because I remembered there's the curtain airbag under here and we don't want a wire preventing that from going off. Since the fuse box is down in the kick panel, I think what I'm going to end up doing is actually tucking this USB behind the airbag, and then we'll run it up over so that we're not in any risk of damaging or preventing this from doing what it needs to do, and it'll be nice and out of the way for the rest of the install. Carefully pull our wire longer than we need it up to our mirror. Before I got too much further into the wiring, I wanted to kind of figure out where I wanted to put the rear view camera and figure out how it mounted. I put the bracket together and left the screws loose so I can kind of angle it, but I think what's going to happen is this thing is going to be completely clipped closed, and I'm going to put it under the third brake light here, just like that. So the wire will come up inside here and into the back of the truck under this third brake light so that I don't have any water ingress into the cab, and I got a nice clear path to run wires around the headliner. I got to chase the wires from the third brake light back around the rear airbag. Also, there's I think an airbag up inside of here. There's an airbag right here I got to worry about. So there's a lot of stuff that I got to worry about getting this thing wired up. On the rear camera harness, you have this red wire here. This is your trigger wire for the park lines. I believe you can wire this into another wire under the dash, but I don't plan on doing that, so I'm just gonna tape it up. In order to pull the kick panel off and this, you have to lift up on this piece first and then pull directly backwards to pull this out. I've broken mine because I've been working on another video for you guys. For the power wire, I'm gonna pull this panel off gently. And now I can hide these wires up inside of here so I can reach the fuse boxes down there. Turns out right here is a killer spot to ground out your little power wire. Down here in the fuse box, we're trying to track down a fuse that is triggered by the ignition. Basically, we don't want it to have power 24/7, and even though one of these fuses works the wires for the stock mirror, the problem is that it's a 3-pin fuse, and I'm actually new to that. That's a 3-pin fuse. That is super clever. That fuse right there is what we would have needed to tap into the circuit that used to go up there. Well, problem is, it's the wrong fuse. I can't tap into that. So looking at the map here that I got off of the fuse box, F12 is switched from the truck being off. So if the truck's off, F12 is on. Not sure how I'll use that someday. That'd be kind of cool to use that in a different way, but that's empty. 15, 19, 22, and 25 I believe are all switched ignition. So I've got 15 going up to my dash grid. I'll put a card up in the corner here, right there, to that video, and 19 is going to the dash cam. Okay, even though the radio's on because the truck's been on and off a couple times, you guys might be able to see the ignition is not on. So let's turn the ignition on. Truck is now turning on, at least in the aux position, and there's our mirror. So there's our front camera, and then all we gotta do is hook up the rear and that'll work. Now that we've confirmed our fuse and our wiring, let's finish up running the rear camera wires before we hook up the mirror. I've started to tuck the wire here into this first little lip of the door molding, and that seems to be holding it just fine. I'll go tuck it behind the pillar and across the other door molding here. All right, we're gonna wanna remove this airbag a logo cover right here and get to this little 7mm bolt up in here. Got this all tucked back in. The wire is coming down through here and way under one of the little locating pins, and then goes back under because I don't want it anywhere near this airbag up here. Hey, look at that. GM forgot to tuck in the fabric right there. We'll get this wire fished down through here, nice and low, out of the way of any airbag or any sort of bolts or anything here, and get it to tuck under the headliner and get sent out the back of the cab. Check this out. GM was kind enough to give us a little access hole to get access up here. So I'm able to push the headliner down from the inside, and I got my thumb in there now, and I'm just fishing all the extra wire up here. All the extra wire I don't need, and then I'll come back in the inside and tuck it up in there, I guess. But we can bundle this all up and have it nice and tight right inside here now. Wolfbox provided us with 2 ways to mount this. Basically, you can use their double-sided tape with their little bracket, or you can use the larger one and just stick the camera right there. I think what I want to do is actually stick it to the bottom of the camera because I want it to angle down just a wee bit. If I had it just with a sticker, it would angle the camera up a little bit, and I have a feeling that wouldn't be quite the right angle to work properly. So I'm going to cut a little tiny hole in the foam here so that I can have a nice little spot for our wire to go through. We're going to tape it in and connect everything and clean up our wires a little bit. As you'll see, that's where the wire will sit on the bottom here, and then we'll just tape all this wire up and plug it in. Nice thing about this kit is there's so much wire here. You can put this mirror on just about any vehicle and have room to spare. So we'll just hide that right there and plug in our light. Got that all wrapped up. Stuff that over here. Our camera wire will plug in like that. Our third brake light will plug in there, and we just got to make sure that everything ends up inside the cab here. That just barely clears the window trim. That's nice. Dang, that is a clean install. Before we go installing the bracket onto the windshield, we need to remove these 4 brackets so that we can expose the screws to mount the new bracket. You either use the tool they provide you or pocket knife or something, but there's little screws up in here that we need to get access to. All 4 here. I guess there's a little tab here and the feet come right out. Before we attach the bracket to the mirror, we need to attach the bracket to the bracket effectively. So I don't know why they sent me 5 screws, but I'm gonna need at least 4 of them. So let's just start installing these one by each. Now that we've got the bracket attached to the bracket, we need to attach it to the mirror, but we want to make sure that we do it the right way. So the button is on the bottom and all of the wires and SD card are on the top. Just use the screws that we took out of there and tighten them up. Essentially what we're trying to do with this whole install is make this look as factory as possible. So essentially having a factory looking dual camera dash cam system. So front and rear dash cam system that looks like factory. I don't know about you guys, but that looks pretty clean, and also it's not flopping around. I like it. I really like it. So last couple steps, let's get it plugged in. All right, we'll get our mirror scooched into place. This is now a flathead versus a Torx drive, but that's on there now. See if we can tuck our old wires back up inside there somewheres. I kind of wish this USB went back, but off to the side's not that big of a deal. But we're just gonna hide the rear camera wire. Like I said before, I'm not gonna hook up the GPS because I've got nav on the radio. So we'll just get the rest of this to clip in here. I thought for a second that I was gonna have to cut this little edge here to fit the wires in, but I was able to tuck it under the little ball stud in there and tuck it in, and it looks like this will fit now, because when I was trying to push this in initially, it was bumping into the wires and it wasn't allowing me to fully set this. So let's see if it'll fit now. I thought for a second that I might have to trim this little bezel piece because the wires were interacting with it. What I ended up doing was tucking the wires under the ball stud little mount that we just put in there, and it looks like it'll fit just fine now. So let's try it. So you guys might be able to see here, I tucked the wires under this ball stud here, and we're gonna try and get this trim piece to clip in. Just like factory. With the exception of the two wires, the basically power it and to get the rear feed for the camera, that looks like a factory mirror. I gotta pull the QC tag off. That's all there is to it. So I'm gonna turn the truck on and we'll see if it works. Turn the truck on. And now the mirror turns on. So there's our front camera. There's our both views. There's our other both views and our back. And here's the problem. It's looking at the trees, like straight up. There's the sun right there. How do we fix that? Let's see. Brightness, cool. We go to the left side here and we could tilt all over the place. So this is as low as it'll go. And that's all I need. I want to see the back of the bed of the truck, and I want to see everything behind me. Only issue with the front camera is it's picking up part of the housing right here. So I'm going to see if I can bend this as far down as it'll go. I'm going to tip this up as high as it'll go. That's pretty much it. Yeah. And I don't think I'll ever need it, other than for maybe if I'm pulling video off of this for when we go wheeling or something like that. But beyond that, that's pretty good for what you get. Obviously you can change the brightness still, but I don't think I need any lower. I don't need to see my dash any more than that, and I certainly don't need to see the sky. So, but this is everything that it's recording. This is the entire field of view of the camera. So when you go and put this into your camera, you're not just getting this, you're actually getting all of this. So pretty cool setup here. I'm gonna put both of the cameras in the same field of view here for you guys, and I want to see my tailgate's down and I can't use the camera anymore, so that's a big plus. Let me go close the tailgate and see if we can see if this is any wider than the other. Let's see if this is any better now. So we got the front camera, rear. So what's crazy is that the camera on the tailgate is actually wider field of view than this. I'm only able to see not quite the front tire of the S10, and we're looking at the Liberty clear in front of the S10. So this still has a much wider field of view than this one, unfortunately. On the tailgate is a wider angle. I like the high mount of the rear view mirror in that I can see over the trailer and potentially over other vehicles around me, whereas the camera on the tailgate is like 2 feet or 3 feet lower than this camera back on the top of the third brake light. So I think this is going to be helpful in a couple situations, backing up trailers, potentially looking around when we're backing up in a parking lot. You can see kind of above the next vehicle. I think that'll be helpful. Plus, it's a dash cam, so if anybody runs into the back of us, we've got a video of it. Anybody hits the front of us, or heaven forbid we hit somebody from behind, we got a video of that too. So maybe we'll lose the footage that day, I don't know. But kidding. Fact is, I think having this camera on top of the truck fixed is going to be a great addition to this truck's safety features. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a good investment in security for the truck, in having this be able to be wired in nice and clean, and then now we've got an additional camera on the back of the truck to see potentially what's in the bed, or if it's fallen out, or maybe if we're backing up a trailer, having the ability to see over the trailer or be able to back it in easier than just the one on the tailgate, because it's kind of being blocked by the trailer for towing. With that, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.